All right, y'all, this is another one of those sermons that's going to start with a history lesson, but hang in there with me because I promise it's worth it. Perhaps you've heard this gospel lesson before where Jesus takes the disciples aside and asks them, "Who do people say that I am?" Peter says, "You are the Messiah." Jesus says, "Bingo!" And we all learn a valuable lesson and go home. But, y'all, there is so much more going on in this story. And believe it or not, it has the power to impact your life in a huge way. So let me set the scene. See, things had gotten a little bit crazy. Jesus needed some space. By now, everyone in Galilee had heard about Jesus, and everywhere he and the disciples went, there was always a crowd. So Jesus takes the disciples aside and he says, "Guys, come on, we're getting out of here. We're going north." And they went to the town of Caesarea Philippi. But Caesarea Philippi was not just any other town. First of all, Caesarea Philippi was a place where very few Jewish people lived. In fact, it was almost kind of like a Gentile resort town for Roman soldiers when they wanted to get away and let off some steam. Think of it kind of like a Las Vegas. Everything you could want, from harmless fun to hardcore sex, drugs, and rock and roll, all in one place. So let's just say that when Jesus and his crew showed up, they would have totally been fish out of water. But on top of that, Caesarea Philippi was also a weirdly religious place. There were shrines and temples to the ancient god Baal, and a lot of people thought this was the birthplace of the pagan god Pan. You know, half goat, half man, the god of nature, the god of the wild, the god of lust, the whole flute and everything. Yeah. But finally, it was also a patriotic place, a place of dominance and prestige and power. Why was it named Caesarea? Well, for Caesar, of course. And Philippi, after Philip, King Herod's son. And in that patriotic place, they had built a gleaming marble temple dedicated to Caesar, a man who to them was more than just a man. They thought of him as their only hope for safety and salvation. So when you talk about Caesarea Philippi, you're really talking about a place that embodies every force, impulse, distraction that vies for human attention, all right there layered one on top of the other. Pleasure and prayer, patriotism and power, all the gods of all the superstitions of all the people everywhere. And so it is into that crazy mess that you drop a poor Jewish son of a carpenter and his ragtag group of fishermen friends? Imagine a day laborer who's never left South Georgia showing up in a town that is simultaneously Las Vegas, the Vatican, and Washington, D.C. all in one. Yikes. But when you know that, then the rest of the story becomes something so much bigger. Because don't you see, that's the place where Jesus says, "Okay, guys, you see all of this. You see all the things that want all of your attention. So with all of this around us, look me in the eye and you tell me, who do you say that I am?" And the disciples, they give a few answers. Well, some say you're this and others say you're that. "Yes," he says, "but who do you say that I am?" With all those pagan gods around them, our God miraculously gives Peter the answer, which he blurts out for all the world to hear. "You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God." Ding, 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 winner, winner, chicken dinner. That is the truth of the gospel. You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God. And oh, y'all, this one gospel truth, I believe it is critical for us right now. Because whether you know it or not, you are living right now in Caesarea Philippi. It's true. And there's no easier way for me to point to it than to point to the life we're living right here on our screens. I feel like I preach about social media a lot these days, but let's face it, during this pandemic, that is where we live. And your screen is Caesarea Philippi. Think about it. All the pleasure, patriotism, prayer, the good things and the bad things, all the hope and joy, all the superstition and despair, all in one place, screaming for your attention and your loyalty and your very soul. As we doom scroll through our feeds, caring or not caring about good news or bad news, real news, fake news, like the gods of a ruined city or a snake dangling from a tree. Everything that passes our eyes is saying to us, listen to me. I am the truth. I am the one. I am the meme that has the power to save your soul. Well, to all of that, we Christians ought rightly to say, bull. Because y'all, here's the hard and wonderful grace of it all. As you scroll through the cybernetic town of Caesarea Philippi, well, the Lord you claim, that poor Jewish son of a carpenter, he's sitting there right by your side all the while, quietly asking, yes, but who do you say that I am? Well, I heard that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Yes, but who do you say that I am? Well, you know that Donald Trump. Yes, but who do you say that I am? Well, if the nation would just, if Christians would actually, if people really think, yes, but who do you say that I am? Because do not forget that I am the baby born in a barn. I am the criminal condemned to the cross. I am the power of God Almighty wrapped in a man who looks like nobody. I am meek. I am mild. I am easy to miss. And I am your Messiah. Don't you accept any other substitutes. In a lot of ways, this feels like a story that's about Peter or about us claiming Jesus. But really, it's the other way around. He's the one who's claiming us. He's the one who's come to claim you. And that's good news because we're all struggling right now. We are desperate to connect the dots and make some meaning and find our way through this world. But the grace for you, O Christian, is that the way has already found you. God gave up everything to claim you and free you from all these other gods and powers and conspiracy theories and memes. So in these days of Caesarea Philippi, when the way begins to look like anything other than Jesus, well, then it's time to shut your screen and say your prayers. When the way begins to look like anger or sound like bitterness or feel like despair, when the way demands prestige or passion or total allegiance or power, when the way calls for zealotry or conspiracy or conformity or despair, when the way begins to feel in one way or another, spiritually or literally, like taking up arms or fighting to the death or hell on earth, then it's time. It's time to take a breath, to leave Caesarea, to shut your screen and say your prayers. It's time to let a poor, powerless Jewish son of a carpenter take you aside and look you in the eye and say, listen, God, I love you. I came a long way to deliver you from all of this because none of this has any power over you. And it's time to let him whisper into your ear one more time, yes, yes, yes. But who do you say that I am?